Leticia James is about, I would say, 10 to 20 days out from getting her, you know what, handed to her. That would be that case, that she took on against Donald Trump, in which she tried to find him, and has actually found him, and he'll get the money back, nearly $500 million. Well, that's about to be reversed. It's about to be reversed, and we know that because of some of the courtroom hearings that we've heard. The Solicitor General was presenting in the appellate court a couple of weeks ago her case, which is basically Leticia James's case, against Donald Trump. But the justices were like, come on, lady, come on, lady. I mean, they wouldn't even let her get started. We're about, as I said, I'm going to ballpark it and say 14 to 20 days out from this whole thing getting reversed. Very interesting timing, is it not? They took quite a gamble, but I'll tell you, these appeals court judges weren't having any part of it, as you'll recall.
May it please the court, Judith Vale for the New York Attorney General's office. All of the defendants repeatedly violated—
Ms. Vale, can you identify any previous case in which the Attorney General sued under Executive Law 6312 to upset a private business transaction that was between equally sophisticated partners, where the supposed victim had the ability and legal obligation to discover the allegedly misrepresented matters by conducting its own due diligence, where the supposed wrongdoer advised the supposed victim through written disclaimers to conduct its own due diligence and to draw its own conclusions, where the alleged misrepresentation almost entirely concerned inherently subjective valuations of properties and businesses.
Yes.
And where the victim never complained about any fraud in the transactional losses from it. Because I've gone through the cases which you've cited, and all of them always involved the consumer protection aspect. It involved protection of the market.
Several responses.
And I want to add to his question, and little to no impact on the public marketplace.
Yeah, okay. So again, I would say 10 to 20 days out, maybe 14 to 20 days out from this whole thing getting reversed. She is, as one of you pointed out, looking to run for mayor. I suspect that this is kind of an emergency move. The Democrat Party is trying to reward her for the lousy job that she did, but important for them, right? Because they wanted to keep him away from campaigning. They wanted to keep him in the courtroom. They wanted to make his life absolutely miserable. And Leticia succeeded in doing that. So they want to reward her what? With possibly being the next mayor of New York? Good luck. Good luck, New York. According to this story that appeared in a local press report in New York just the other day, Hochul's team has been, apparently, this is the governor of New York, quietly researching how to use a little-known state law that could allow her, the governor, to remove Eric Adams from office. Now, if Adams is ousted, then you'd have someone named Humaine Williams stepping in as the mayor until a special election is held. And then they think in the special election, you can just shuttle none other than Leticia James in there. So all I can say is I'm really glad I don't live in New York City anymore. Really, really glad I don't live in New York City. I mean, good luck, New York. Oh, good luck. You get all the migrants coming in. Eric dared to speak out against him. He's getting tossed as mayor. We're not going to excuse anything he did if he did it, but I'm just saying he had a target on his back, so to speak, once he broke with the Biden administration. And he wasn't as squeaky clean as he apparently needs to be. I mean, it tells you more about Trump, does it not? I mean, if they could have gotten anything on him, believe me, they would have had it by now. So Leticia James is trying to run for mayor and trying to kind of flee her position as attorney general because maybe she doesn't want to be there when it comes through that it's game over. I mean, really and truly game over. I want to play you another reason why we know this, because again, I did this in a show last week for you. This was just amazing to me. All of the things that the appellate judges were saying. I mean, one of the things was, hey, listen, lady, you had 14 criteria. And the guy from Deutsche Bank that did the loan said the criteria that you're bringing up about the square footage at Mar-a-Lago or whatever, or the historic value or historic sort of regulations surrounding Mar-a-Lago, these were not things that were that important. They didn't really care about that in the 14 things that they were really focused on. So why are you making this big deal out of it?
It was using—
I'm sorry, but what's being described sounds an awful lot like a potential commercial dispute between private actors.
Well, to go back to the first question about whether there's other examples of this, there are other examples of this. In the first American case, the Attorney General brought a 6312 case where the transaction at issue was between a very big bank, Wells Fargo, and a professional appraisal firm.
But
And
it wasn't wasn't the concern there that the public would ultimately be negatively impacted and affected by what those corporate actors were doing.
And that concern is here as well, because when you have hidden risks getting injected into the market,
don't know how you
that
can-
hurts the market and honest participants in the market. And the legislature also decided, contrary to what defendants think, that making sure that business in New York stays honest is the way to attract and keep business
So to that
in New
point,
York.
the Executive Law 6312, I just want to read a section of it. Well, not exactly, but was enacted to promote and protect honesty and integrity. It's the same question I asked the other side in commercial marketplaces.
But this is really interesting because there's 5 justices. 4 of them are so clearly, vehemently against this lawyer for Leticia James, except for the woman in the middle who's trying to help her out and do her a favor.
In New York by stopping fraudulent and illegal businesses. To accomplish this purpose, the statute authorizes the Attorney General to bring civil enforcement proceedings on behalf of the people whenever any person shall engage in repeated fraudulent or illegal acts.
So in other words, she's saying, yeah, you know what? Leticia had the ability to do this because she was in the scope of the law. And you know what came out of that? Some of the justices saying, well, then clearly we need to do something to limit the likes of a very rabid AG like Leticia James doing something like this. Like if you're trying to tell us that the law allows her that, then this law has gone too far. And it's, pushed past the point of return, so to speak. A quick shout out for the store, you guys. The Trish Regan shop. You can go over here to the trishregan.shop, trishregan.shop, and you can help support the show and maybe pick up some Christmas goodies for your friends and family. Hats, mugs, live for your die, baby, right? Go check it out there at the trishregan.shop.